beach and being on vacation and seeing a bunch of empty spaces in the spreadsheet. But I mean, I got over it and I filled it in and that was it.
So Matt texted me on Friday and said, you're going to have to take care of Bay this weekend, which is the strikeout prop spreadsheet, which is now the MLB pitcher prop spreadsheet because Matt added a ton of props for anything pitcher related. So Matt said, take care of Bay. I said, no prop. Like Friday, I did nothing. I stayed in. I did Friday night, spreadsheet done. Saturday morning, props are all in there. Saturday morning, props were done. Saturday night hit. I went to dinner. And then I forgot about the spreadsheet until this morning. And I texted Matt and said, I am so sorry. I effed up. It is on me. But Matt, like, I literally checked the spreadsheet this morning and it was filled out miraculously. And I'm like, Matt saved our ass. We would have missed a day.
Yeah, the Action Network's app had the props still up even after the games. Like they had all the whole day. So I just, went over that. I mean, I didn't do the FanDuel had one thing and DraftKings. I just used the stationary number for all of them. But yeah, Action Network saved my butt there with that because they had all the old numbers.
Whatever. It's fine. I'm going to get over it. I'm not over it. I'm glad you are. I'm not yet. But anyway, no one cares what I have to say. Before we get to Major League Baseball, sorry, I was like seeing that Grayson Rodriguez to undergo season-ending elbow debridement surgery. Before we get to Major League Baseball, there's been a lot of football headlines in the NFL, college football. What has caught your eye that has maybe had an impact on futures?
Terry McLaurin. I really think the Commanders' offense without Terry McLaurin is just ordinary. It's okay. Like Jaden Daniels is a magician, and hopefully he doesn't have the CJ Stroud thing this year where he goes bad the second year, or at least plays poorly the second year. But if you have Terry McLaurin, everybody else goes to their good roles. Debo becomes the number 2. Zach Ertz becomes a very nice secondary piece. The running game is okay, but it's not the main thing you rely on. But no Terry means Debo's number 1. So the gimmick plays that they run and putting him in motion and trying to get him in space, like you can fix that a little bit more. You can cover that a little bit more. Noah Brown becomes a number 2, and he's not really a number 2. And then who knows who's number 3? It's Luke McCaffrey maybe, or KJ Osborne or Michael Gallup. And so Terry McLaurin is changing my outlook on the Commanders. I mean, the Eagles might win that division by 2 games or more if Terry McLaurin's not there. So I think that's huge. And I think both sides are pretty firm in their stuff. So I don't see him coming anytime soon. I think he will sign before the season, but if they don't have Terry McLaurin, then I think their offense becomes a whole lot worse than it is right now.
What do you think of the odds of McLaurin getting traded?
I think it's about 2%. I really do. The Commanders have had a great run. So they get rid of Daniel Snyder. They make the NFC Championship game last year. Their quarterback is awesome. They have a decent offseason. I think they messed up this offseason, but whatever. They then find out that RFK is most likely going to be their stadium in 2030. All this positive stuff. Are you going to ruin all of that by not signing one of the top 5-6 receivers in football? Like Terry McLaurin is that guy. I love Terry McLaurin as much as an Eagles fan could love a Commander, but he is that guy, and he's probably due at least most of what he's asking for.
We've also got drama with the Dallas Cowboys. I mean, your NFC East my dog is drama. Marley, stop eating wires. Your NFC East has a lot of drama because Micah Parsons also having some issues with the Dallas Cowboys and his contract. What are the odds we see both McLaurin and Micah Parsons stay with their respective teams, or you think one's gone?
No, I think they're both going to be there. I just think Jerry is going to be stubborn and not sign Micah and just kind of keep him there. He has no incentive to trade him. And Jerry didn't make billions of dollars by, giving in to other people. Jerry's going to be stubborn. Micah's not going to come play. I hope this at least lasts through week 1 so the Eagles can win 37-10 over Dallas in the primetime game on Thursday night, which, by the way, we're exactly 1 month away from. But yeah, I don't think Micah Parsons is going anywhere. I don't think Terry McLaurin's going anywhere. I think Terry signs. I think Micah could be out. Week 8, week 9, he has to come in to make sure the year registers, whatever that week is where he has to come back to make sure the year registers on his contract. Yeah, exactly. So he pulls a Le'Veon Bell, right? Le'Veon Bell, I think, did the same thing where he sat out up until the time he had to come in to make sure the year counted. I think Micah could do the same thing.
The only team that doesn't seem to have drama is your Eagles, but it's really hard to come back off the Super Bowl and do it again? I know that the Eagles are favored, and then you've got the Commanders and the Cowboys as your order for winning the NFC East. How much are you worried about either of those two teams taking over the role of the champs of the East?
Well, I mean, first off, one of the first win totals I took is the Eagles under. I mean, the Eagles schedule is impossible this year. Like every road game is going to be tough. There's like one or two places where they might get wins. The Raiders, I think they can beat at home. I think they can beat the Giants at home, and certainly, beat Dallas at home, and probably the Commanders at home. But like they get the road game at KC week 2 is tough. Granted, they get an extra day to prepare, not as much of time as they would because the NFL loves the Chiefs and they play Thursday instead of they play Friday instead of Thursday. But like they get the Bills on the road, they get so many tough teams this year. I think they're going to be good. I think they might be as good as last year, but the record won't show it this year because the schedule's so tough, and that's why we love the NFL. They don't let you have these dynasties rather easily. The reason why the Patriots had a dynasty was they had an easy AFC East, and that was 6 wins every year. That's why KC for the longest time was so good because everybody else in that division was terrible. But like the NFL does its best to make sure dynasties can't happen year after year.
So Earl has an interesting question about Saquon, and you are an Eagles fan, but just so everyone knows, Matt's an Eagles fan, but he lives in like the DC, like the Virginia, DC area. So he does radio and covers a lot of Commanders. So that's why he knows not only the East well because he's a fan, but he covers it a lot for media as well. So Saquon Barkley, he obviously had a 2,000-yard rushing yard season last year, and now this year his prop's down to 1,500.5. Jalen Hurts' passing yards prop is much higher than he threw for last season. Are we expecting then the drop off in Saquon season long and the uptick in Jalen Hurts? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think that they're going to be behind more than they were last year. Last year, they were ahead and they basically just ran the ball to run the clock away. And so I think that Saquon is going to be, plus for running backs, I feel like you have to take the unders. Like the overs are so tough because one running back injury, your over's done. And I'm so deathly afraid that this is the year that Saquon potentially gets injured. Like I won't even draft him. If I have the number 1 selection in fantasy this year, I'm taking Jahmyr Gibbs. I think Jahmyr Gibbs, he's gonna be a guy I'm loading up on in terms of touchdowns. I think I'm going to take his over on touchdowns and all sorts of stuff because I think Jahmyr Gibbs is going to have.
You don't mind a split backfield?
I don't, because I think he's the type of guy who can get 60-yard touchdowns, and they don't mind putting him inside the 5. So, like, I think he's the type of guy who can get a whole bunch of touchdowns, but, like, he also is a great receiver. And then I also love CeeDee Lamb this year. I think CeeDee Lamb is going to benefit a lot. I think a lot of people are going to go.
We talked about that on VSiN. My producer said at like 9-1, you could get him to be the leading receiver in receiving yards this season.
Yeah, I think they'll go to the other guy. I think a lot of people will buy on him more, but I think this just is going to open up CD. Dak's over for attempts, especially on weeks where they're going to lose. I mean, it's going to be money every single time. He's going to throw it 40 to 50 times every single game because Miles Sanders and Javonte Williams are not NFL running backs, and that's their backfield. Like, they should have kept Rico Dowdle. I know he wasn't great, but, like, he was at least better than these two guys. But, like, I think Dak is going to throw it 40 to 50 times every game, and he's going to feed CeeDee Lamb a ton every single game.
I'll tell you guys this. One of my favorite season-long props so far is Jalen Hurts over passing yards. I just think he's going to throw the football more. The book's telling us a story by bringing down Saquon's rushing yards prop so much and elevating Jalen Hurts above even the number that he hit last year. Whenever you're putting a quarterback passing yards prop much higher than what he threw for last year, it's telling me the whole story that I need to know.
Yeah, I mean, I think the offensive coordinator, who is a guy who's been around Jalen Hurts, I think he knows that you got to throw the ball a little bit more. Teams, the Chiefs took away Saquon Barkley in the Super Bowl, and they threw it, and they had more success. So, yeah, I like Jalen Hurts' stuff. I don't think he's going to get as many tush pushes from the 1-yard line. Like, I think Jalen Hurts is over is a decent bet. Now, granted, one hit when he's running, you're in trouble, but, like, I just think he's the guy that's going to make the offense go a little bit more this year.
Hey, listen, they're going to give him every jab in the world if he needs it to stay healthy. So quarterbacks don't, I know it's always worrisome. Every injury is worrisome in the NFL, but I get more worried about, I get less worried about quarterbacks because I feel like the league will do everything in their power to put them on the field.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. And I think the teams will certainly do that as well. I just feel like it's so tough because the NFL, more than anything else, I get it. Major League Baseball, there's arm injuries for pitchers, and that certainly makes it tough for overs there. But like, it feels like in the NFL, overs for them are a little bit tougher because it's just like one injury and you are done and you lose your bet. So you really have to like something to like an over for season long props.
Well, let's talk some Major League Baseball because we got action tonight, and we'll get to college football with Matt and NFL stuff with him as we get a little bit closer and don't have to worry so much about